Hi, thank you so much for joining us on the Four Walls Theater YouTube channel. And thank you for joining us for this live interview that we have today with director Malini Singh McDonald, who is directing our forthcoming production of Ghosts of Bogota by Diana Burbano. My name is Gina Drop, and I work as the Director of Marketing and Patron Services, as well as Director of Development at Four Walls Theater. If you'd like to follow our social media, you can keep up with everything that we're working on and opportunities for you to work with us. Our Twitter is at Four Theater, Four, four, the number. And our Facebook is Four Walls Theater. Our Instagram is at Four Walls Theater as well. And right now you can check out our Eventbrite for Ghosts of Bogota, where you can find information about the show and how to donate to our work, to the actors, and most importantly, to our spotlighted charity. Raices is a very important charity that helps immigrants with legal services. They're based out of Texas, and we'll be donating a portion of money raised through this production to their organization. We're very happy and lucky that Diana Burbano, the playwright, has chosen to spotlight them, and we've been able to learn about all the wonderful work that they do as well. So go ahead and check out any of our social media or the Eventbrite to link more information about those things. I'm going to introduce our lovely director, Malini, now, and then we'll get into the interview with her. Malini Singh McDonald is a native New Yorker who received her BA in Theater Arts in English Literature from Baruch College and her MFA in Directing at Actor Studio Drama School. She is a founder of both Black Henna Productions and Theater Beyond Broadway. She has collaborated with The Anthropologists, Neopolitical Cowgirls, Broadway Artist Connection, and Mind the Art Entertainment. Malini is on the board of the League of Professional Theater Women, a member of the Stage Directors and Choreographers Society at Statera Arts. Malini was a producer on the Broadway revival of Godspell, as well as on the producing team of Chasing Rainbows at Paper Mill. She received the Woman of Distinction Award for her contribution to media, arts, and culture from the city of New York. So obviously we are extremely lucky to be working with Malini, and I cannot wait to hear more today in this interview about your work, your vision, and who you are as a director and theater artist.
It's always so strange to hear your own bio read back to you.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I did all that. Wow.
It's a good one. I'm going to jump right into the question so that we can learn as much wonderful things about you as we can in our time together today. And for the live audience members participating, at the end, we will take questions from you all, so you can comment questions, and Malini and I will dive a little bit more into those curiosities that you have once we're done with the questions I have come up with for her. So my first one is, when did you know you were a director? Do you participate in theater in any other roles before moving into directing?
So I started out as an actress and a singer. I accidentally stumbled into directing. So it was not something that I had ever thought I would be doing. The opportunity presented itself when I was at Baruch, and my mentor at the time, said, why don't you just direct a one act? Just direct it, make it your thesis. And I thought, direct? Okay, if she's saying this, then I should do it. So I ended up doing No Exit by Sartre. And that was my thesis in undergrad. And it went really well. And two people said something that made me realize that I should move forward with this as a career. One was my mentor, Eleanor Farrar, who said, you have something there. And my father-in-law, Michael McDonald, who came to see it and who I respect very much. He's also a theater person, a director, a wonderful actor as well. And he said, you got something here. You should stick with it. You did a good job. And that was for my first. And No Exit's not an easy play.
Yeah.
But that's where it all started. And I thought, okay, let me explore what this is. And I really loved it. I loved it so much. I still love it. I don't want to say like I loved it and But I did hit a point, and we'll talk more about that in my career as I was exploring all the other areas where I felt a little burnt out and had to take a break. But I have basically done everything in the theater, from stage managing, running crew. I've hung lights, I've painted, I've hammered, I've done everything. I'm a true representation of being a theater artist, and that has allowed me to be able to explore all avenues that are available and to find what I really loved. And that's how I ended up getting into the PR and producing.
You can always tell a really well-rounded director, and I think we've definitely seen this with you in the rehearsal space, as a fully invested theater artist. The one who knows the ropes of everything, because they know how to talk to everyone, they know how to collaborate really well. And you're a very collaborative director, which has been so fun to work with you on for Ghosts of Bogota. But I think that everything that you're saying resonates so well with how you stylistically are as a director too. That the whole package type of director, which is great.
I was just taught that no one person is greater than another. We're all part of the puzzle called a production. Every person is important. Everybody has feelings. Everybody is doing the same amount of work. And you know, we've been on shows where it's like complicated personalities, and you know, stuff happens and somebody runs out of the room, and it's, you know, we're doing theater. So of course, as we are blood, sweat, and tears, and also pulling apart a character, pulling apart a script to bring the truth of an essence of the piece to life, you're gonna start touching on parts of people's souls and their spirits. And you, as a director and as a producer, you get to choose how you want to interact with your artists, because you're leading the team, you know. So a production is a reflection of the leaders, you know. And like, we have a great leader in Alana, our producer, who's, you know, our fearless leader, and you are just so instrumental. You know,
Thank
what
you.
it is to have you as stage manager, as doing the PR, you're doing all of it. I mean, that just shows that it's not one person doing one thing. Sometimes we have to bleed into another area and like remove the ego. Because honestly, at the end of the day, people are coming to see a production. People are coming to see the art. They're not coming to see crap. I did say that. But the word
It's
crap
true.
is also in Satra exit, so we're keeping it. Don't cut this out.
It's true. I mean, a good theater artist knows that everybody has the best intention with the work, and that makes a really good team. I think we do have a really great team at Four Walls. This has led really well into my next question, which is, when you're reading a script that you're potentially going to direct, what elements are you searching for, or scripts kind of tend to find you?
I think scripts tend to find me. I know I want to do a script when I'm turning the pages and I'm in there, I'm sucked in, and my heart leaps. Like, I could feel it. And if there is just really solid material and the way that the playwright is telling the story, I believe that the work I'm creating is about working through human nature and all the stuff that we're going through. That's why I love theater so much. You know, it's almost it's art therapy. I have just been working through all of my issues through all the plays I've worked on, essentially. But I do believe that. And I love a dark play. I love a comedy. I love anything that touches on what makes us uncomfortable.
Mm.
That's where I'm like, oh, let's dive into it. And Diana Bourbano clearly did that with this piece. I was just like, whoa, yes, I'm in.
Yeah, Diana is definitely the queen of exploring what makes you uncomfortable and why, and opening that wide open. I love all of that. I mean, scripts are so, you tend to get that magic connection, but I love that scripts find you and that you're able to unearth all of that connection. And it is very much art therapy. I believe that totally as well.
I also believe that projects present themselves when you need to work on something within yourself. So that has also
Hmm.
been my experience is and we were talking about this in rehearsal last night. God, I'm so in love with our cast. I am in love with them because every time we read a line or read a scene, I I go, oh, that's another thing. And it's interesting that we're just talking about the layers of what I've been calling pathology. It's epigenetic. Did I say it right? Epigenetics?
Yeah.
Oh, I said it right. Great. Where we're just going back into our own families, are going back into the generations, going back into the roots. What is causing the pattern of whatever? In this case, it's abuse. What what is causing that, and how can we stop it? That's where I'm at in my life today. Is stopping old patterns of my own. I don't want to I don't want to live in that place of fear and misery, you know, because I could do fear and misery really well, but I don't really want to do it.
Right.
Interest. So how do we get on the other side of it? And this play absolutely deals with that. How do you become a superhero in your own life? That's what came up this morning actually when I was like reflecting on last night and prepping for tonight's rehearsal, and I said, and
Mhm.
that came up in my head. We are all our own superheroes. We just got to find them. We got to
Right.
find power. Yeah.
We definitely see that with the siblings in the show. How do they come forward for themselves and for each other?
Hmm. Because it's a perfect opportunity for them to fall apart.
Hmm.
I mean, they're they are in Bogota. They don't really want to be there. They got to face their past. I mean, technically, they have the money. They could just get on a plane and go back home,
Right.
and they don't.
Mm.
They don't go. They stay.
Why do you think it's important for audiences to watch Ghosts of Bogota? And what do you hope that they'll take away from it?
Well, I think that they all need to see this cast
Hmm.
and this production team bring this script to life because there's a lot of elements going on here. It's not a it's not joyous topics. We're talking about trauma on many different levels. But the way Diana writes it is not in a I'm going to now cry about this for 5 pages and then work through it. It's like this is what happened and this is what we're going to do. We don't hang around with it. The dialogue is fast, the dialogue is rich,
Hmm.
the dialogue helps the actors, it helps me, it helps you, it helps Alana, Stab, everybody involved in this. And I think it's also going to offer the audience an opportunity to see that there is another way to handle situations
Hmm.
that may, confuse us, may baffle us, but there is an answer and there's a way to do things. We don't always have to suffer on our own. We're not alone. And I have a really strong network of people who are spiritual and who say that we do this together. Like none of us are on our own trying to figure this out. We don't have to be. And I think this play offers that because Lola, Sandy, and Bruno are three very different characters, the three siblings.
Hmm.
Very different. And each one of them offers many ways to deal with the childhood trauma and pain. And there's also the magical realism, and we have ghosts, hence the ghosts of Bogota, and they show up in a way that also they talk about their own trauma, bad or good. We're not going to label it, but they talk about why they do what they do. And I think that's, again, informative. I always say that I'm like, listen, I could do maudlin, table for one all by myself. I could do that very well. But again, who wants to suffer? Unless you like that. I mean, maybe some people get off on that, but not me. And I don't, and not this cast. Because if this cast didn't want to share openly, we wouldn't have the story we have unfolding every night.
I just had a little bit of a realization from what you just said about the script with the ghosts. And I just think that this is something that I want audiences to come and experience too.
Sorry for the party outside. This happens now that we're in quarantine a few times a day. They're gone now. Continue.
Exciting. I just had this amazing thought about, with you talking about the ghosts, speaking of their own trauma, good or bad. And a lot of times it's in a way that they're working through it. And I think that that is such a hopeful message, in that even in the afterlife, these characters, these ghosts, these symbols, these relatives have this opportunity in Diana's script, even beyond, to improve. And because we know a lot about the script and we don't want to give anything away, there's one character in particular in my mind that I just had this rush of hope that they too have the opportunity to work through and improve and work on their trauma in the afterlife. And that hit me. Like, it's amazing the amount of discoveries we make almost moment to moment with this script. It's amazing.
I mean, she packed in a lot in 92 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, friends, this is a 92-page script, and there is a lot. We're talking classism, racism, passing, colorism, sexual abuse, all the top, cancer. I mean, am I giving stuff away? Maybe. Guess what? We're going to find out on Saturday. But like, we talk about all of these heavy issues, and it's in a finite amount of pages.
Yeah, definitely.
We're not dwelling on it, so we're not. It's really not a wallow. It's actually a freeing. It's a freeing. But I didn't give away that one character. I agree, because that one character also does find their own resolution.
Right. Oh, it's amazing. It gives me chills.
I'm going to share that in rehearsal later.
So we're making it very clear that this script is so fun to work with, so rewarding. On the front of directing virtually, what have you found most rewarding, most challenging? It's a whole new ball game. What do you think of it?
It's a whole new ball game. I'm one who loves something new, a new challenge. This was a challenge, definitely. But let's talk about what's been rewarding. One of my goals is just not even a goal. It's like my personal vision is to be able to push someone, promote someone, have their voice. It's all about, it's why I created Theater Beyond Broadway, which is a platform that promotes and fosters the independent artist. I really do believe that everyone has a voice. And I believe that it lives beyond the bright lights of Broadway. It lives actually beyond the 5 boroughs and the tri-state area, because I saw how many people work very hard without necessarily an equity contract. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it. I mean, I have many friends who have theater companies where their goal is just really to be able to provide a service to the community and give young artists opportunities. So why am I saying all this when the question is, how's it rewarding? Well, it connects to our cast.
Mm-hmm.
All of you are not from New York City. I mean, Gina, you're stage managing this from Chicago.
Yep.
We have Diana, our playwright, and Sarah out on the West Coast. We have our amazing assistant stage manager / narrator / understudy, who is based, down south. And then there's like the core of us who is in the New York City, Jersey area. So we are doing this from all over.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me has been most rewarding, because for years I have been writing about theater beyond Broadway, around the world, other states. I find it fascinating because, believe it or not, other people in other areas have their own experiences and they're bringing it to the work. And I think that's also why, no, I don't think, I know this. That's why this experience has been so special. The other thing too is no one's running off to their 4 jobs because we're all in quarantine.
Right.
So that's something that's very New York City. That's very much a part of our theater community. You know, we're running, you know, as we call it, the theatrical campus of Times Square and beyond. We're like running from work to rehearsal for the other show to this, here,
Mm-hmm.
here. Thank you for a Metro card. You know, can I pay for the Metro card? You know, so this has been an opportunity to just actually meet a space of creation. So that's been incredibly rewarding. The production team is phenomenal. I think all of you are great. I wish, this goes into the challenges, I wish we were all in a room.
Mm-hmm.
I said it last night in the middle of rehearsal, there were some little things that I knew instinctively that if we were in a room together, I could quickly fix and just be like, boom, boom, done. You know, but
Definitely.
I have to like now think out around it. I can't, you're not next to me where I could be like, Gina, just write it down, find me later on break. You know, you're not right next to me. So I'm watching everybody work, and then I'll shoot you a message or I'll get a message from the team, the production team. And it's like, ooh, ooh. The other thing too is, you know, I'm working from home with my husband. So now we're working on that schedule. So like last night, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm going to be in a 4-hour rehearsal. And he was like, we got to figure out dinner. I'll just bring in food for you. But, you know, it's like those little things that if we were in a room, if we were like in a rehearsal space, I would have just bought my food. I would have prepared. But like little things you don't think about and take for granted has been some of the one of the challenges.
Definitely. I have one more question for you, and then we'll move into taking some questions from the audience.
Wonderful.
So my last question, and this is kind of a big one, and we've touched on some elements of it, but how do you think the landscape of live theater will be affected long-term by the COVID-19 crisis? Has it affected the way that you'll plan future artistic projects and productions endeavors?
Yes. The landscape of theater will change, and we should just realize that. I think we did the moment all of us who were on shows were no longer on shows. So yes, I think it is going to be affected in a different way. It's going to look very different. What will not change though, and for all the theater artists out there in the world, we are the storytellers. We give social commentary. We have been around forever telling our stories in whatever way we did that, whether it's oral tradition, whether it's in an amphitheater in Greece, whether it's on the corner of where there's a parking lot or in a park. We tell stories. That's never going away. It's not. What we're going to have to do is start to think outside the box and how we're going to create it. Here's the thing. We've all been doing that already. This is not new. It's just we got to think differently. And how are we going to create budgets? Yes, it's absolutely affected the way I will be producing. It affects the way I will be creating art. And I'm okay with that. I used to beat myself up about not being clear. Now I'm just like, fine, I can go with the flow too. We went with the flow with this. We are literally living a day at a time, right? We're like living moment to moment because we don't know what's tomorrow.
I'm gonna share this question that we've gotten from the audience from Todd Garvin, and it's just elaborating on what we're talking about right now. And he's saying a lot of theater is moving to virtual auditions, doing shows via Zoom, which is what we're doing right now with at 4 Walls, and I know a lot of other companies are moving towards doing that as well. And he's asking, as a director, how do you feel that doing shows this way will change theater, if at all, which we're talking about a little bit right now. And I think another element of this great question from Todd Garvin is, do you think that it'll change the way that you direct? You talked a little bit about the ways that it's challenging to direct on Zoom because we're not in a room together. We can't kind of communicate side by side. We have to think about new language to get actors where we want them to go. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think this Zoom or any type of video conferencing platform is now going to be an additional option, because believe it or not, prior to this, there were a lot of directors out there in the world who were directing and rehearsing via video conference, whether it's Zoom or whatever was around. So this concept is not a brand new one. I think it will allow more opportunities as far as how it will relate to theater. And if I've completely not answered this question, re-ask it. I think that the idea of going to a virtual realm was something that came up in commercial theater a bunch of years ago. So it was a conversation piece that basically just never got fulfilled, or maybe it was being fulfilled, but really Ken Davenport is reposting Daddy Longlegs as a fundraiser that was live streamed about, what is it, 4 years ago, something like that. So this idea of being able to do productions on video is not an old concept. Broadway
Right.
HD, I'm like giving all of these people credit. We should get some sponsorship. But there are other platforms that are showing live streams or are showing videos of shows, Masterpiece Theater. I mean, I didn't get to see Sweeney Todd in the theaters like many others, including my husband, but I got to see Sweeney Todd on PBS. So I think it's just now more artists are going to start really looking at that as a possibility, because that's when I'm working with artists on the PR level or on the producing level, I always push them to think outside the box, because sometimes it's just easy to just be in your comfort zone, and we can't anymore. Folks, the days of renting a black box for like $200 and like just doing a show for next to nothing has been gone for a very long time.
Right. I think one thing too is that all of these things are giving access to well-known productions that definitely we all want to see and enjoy. I think one thing that I love about working with Four Walls and with Alana's vision for this theater is that we're doing so much new work that's getting seen far and wide by huge audiences as our YouTube views go up, and give the opportunity for people to come and watch. Like I hope that is something that changes a lot too with this platform, is seeing a lot of new work from the comfort of your home as well.
I think it's going to happen because right now I'm on the board of the League of Professional Theater Women, and this year we're doing our international award. It's called the Gilder Kwanye Award, and part of that is bringing in the 26 nominees as well as the major award winner and they're from around the world. They're not from USA.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is bringing them here to New York to share. We basically had to revamp our plan. We're right in the middle of it. I actually need to get my marketing plan over to them by the end of the day on how we're going to do that, because it's now allowing more these women, these amazing international women artists will now have an opportunity to have more people see them.
Definitely. That's awesome. I love new work, and I love hearing about this. It's amazing the work that you're doing with the Board of International Women and everything. That's awesome. I want to just let the audience know that you can continue to ask questions, and they'll be sent over to us and we'll talk about them. There is a little bit of like a 20-second lag between us and you, so we'll give you a little bit of time, and I'm just going to pick Malini's brain about a few other things. And in my interview with Diana Bourbano, I was able to learn a lot about her culture and background, and a lot of that is really relevant to her script. I was wondering if you would share a little bit about your cultural background and heritage with us.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad. It's a great question because I am not Colombian. I'm Trinidadian. My family is from Trinidad, which is the southernmost island in the Caribbean, right off of Venezuela. And my parents came to this country in the early 70s, and they settled here in New York City. So definitely hardcore New Yorker, and definitely a hardcore Trinidadian. Very proud of my Indian roots. So my upbringing has been not feeling a part of. Back then there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me. I was pretty much one of, I'm telling you, like, I think there was like 2 other families in the neighborhood that were Indian when I was growing up. And I mean, I'm saying Indian broadly because then I'm Trini, which is different from, slightly different from being from the subcontinent, et cetera, et cetera. So I learned fast to just pick up everything I can from, the cultures that were around me. But my parents were so diligent about being true to our roots. They never ever said, try to be something else, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. But they always pushed me to be the best me and to really go after the dreams that are out there and also the possibilities. So I very much already was ingrained in the Latinx, community, and very in all parts of it, whether it's Puerto Rican, Dominican, Ecuadorian, Colombian, Venezuelan, I was already familiar with that. So, and very much enjoyed those types of work. So I realized that our cultures were very, very similar at the core. And that's how I could bring my roots into this play.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We have another question from the audience from Michael McDonald, who says that he has yet to see a virtual production. He's very excited to see one. Does it translate to talking heads, quote unquote, or is there actual movement on the screen?
So the way that I directed it, it's a little bit of both, just because of the way the script is written. And that will make more sense when you see it on Saturday night at 8 p.m. right here on the Four Walls Theater channel on YouTube. But yes, it may seem a little talking heads at some moments, but there's really this interaction within. It was an interesting way to kind of direct theatrically with a level of TV and film, which is not really my training. I mean, I've directed a short film and I've been in front of the camera, but it's not my happy place. So that's the answer to that question.
I think one of the coolest things that we've seen too is exactly what you're talking about. It's theater, and we're trying to ingrain the essence of theater into the performance. But it's been amazing to watch the actors adapt to this platform, because we have had to give a few like film TV notes of working with the camera and eye levels and interacting with scene partners that aren't in the room with you, and they've really like taken it with grace. It's been awesome, but it translates well. This show translates really well to the platform though.
Yes, for sure.
We have another question. You guys are doing great with questions today. Paul Garvin again says, I have a friend that I met in grad school that recently left the theater world due to sexism to her as a director. What are the hardships and struggles that you have had as a female director? Oh, what a great question. What a great question.
How much time do we have? I'm going to answer this briefly. Very much so. When I graduated from graduate school, I got my MFA. It was in the early noughts. It was very difficult for me to get work.
Mm.
Incredibly difficult. And I had the credits from school. I did the work. And it's why I ended up creating my own theater company with my husband. It's why we created Black Henna, because oh wow, I'm feeling really emotional about this because I haven't talked about it in a while, but I couldn't get work. And we decided, let's just create our own work, because when we met, we fell in love over dreams. My husband and I are dreamers, and we had a very clear vision of the type of theater we wanted to do, which was based in Shakespeare and doing original works. And that's how it started. I had to pave my own way. And then as I was moving into the producing world and the producing end of theater, I had to encounter that again, where an interesting thing that would happen is if I was meeting with a male producer or male theater owner and they'd show me the space, they would do this thing where they would get on the stage and talk down to me. So what I would do is just get on the stage with them and continue the conversation, because I knew it was a power play, right? And it was like, listen, you need my money, so let's just calm down there. But yes, every time I've encountered it, I've had to quickly come back with my own way of dealing with the situation. I never once wanted to run away, though. I didn't want to, and I'll tell you why. And I share this with all of you who are out there that, again, who are just feeling very much alone. I just had such a powerful council, my network, my group of artists and professional women who I knew were making it and who were also giving opportunities to others. And I just stuck with them. I tried to find my tribe. Who is my tribe? I continue to give opportunities to others. And this industry is also about synergy. So you want to definitely find your people, because those who are actors 20 years ago are now producing. People have moved up in whatever they were doing. So my offer to your friend is, what's great about theater is that you could always come back. You could always come back and decide how you want to come back and connect with those people who you think will be able to give you that type of support. But yeah, it was not fun. I hate it. I'm at the age now where, and I've been in New York City my whole life. And at a certain point, when you get to my age, you've been around a long time. It's like
yeah. I mean, you have made it. You are wonderful to work with. You have a great resume. You have the experience, and you're nailing it. And as a young theater artist, I see the steps that I have to climb. And I mean, I'm really lucky that I'm getting to work with so many amazing, specifically female artists in this industry right now, with our producer Alana, working with you, working with Diana. Like, the networking at Four Walls has been amazing for me.
It's so lucky. You're so lucky.
I am. I really am. Yeah. One of the pieces of advice that I remembered when you were talking that I feel like is really important for this other woman as well is, my mentor in college told me when I was about to graduate, you have to live your life. You have to experience life. You will not get opportunities right out of the gate. One, because you're a woman and your resume is going to have to be 3 times bigger than anyone else's. And 2, because you are going to find your oomph, your harumph, through living your life, through having experiences, that you can bring all of that to the table, and it will give you even more of an edge. And there have been times where my career since I've graduated from undergrad has wavered away from theater, but I can bring all of that back every time I come back to, my theater home, wherever that home is. It always is home, but you can always bring your life experiences outside of theater to enhance your theater. And that was, at the time, not advice that I wanted. I just wanted to dive in, 2 feet into the deep end. But it is truly gaining that, living your life, bringing that to the table to your art is really important too.
And to know that if you decide to leave, you still have all that experience. It's going to roll over into other assets of your life. It's just what, as theater people, we're gifted. We're lucky to have this trait. But I do want to say that you will get to a day where you're going to be burnt out and want to throw yourself on the floor and say, I am done. I am out of here. Peace out. It's been real. And what I say to you is, good. Take it. Take the break. Go sit on a mountain. Go do something else for like 3 months, whatever you need. Theater's not going anywhere. It's going to be right here. You just come back.
Definitely. Well, I think this has been such a lovely interview. I've enjoyed spending this time with you. I'm so happy that our audiences came and asked these wonderful questions, and we got to learn so much about you. And I can't wait until I get to be in rehearsal with you later tonight. I'm going to just talk a little bit about Four Walls Theater before we say goodbye for the rest of the day. Four Walls Theater is a socially responsible theater founded by Alana Gartner out of New York, and we are so thankful to have this platform to combine the theater arts along with working with charities. The charity that we are spotlighting for this production, Ghosts of Bogota by Diana Bourbano, is Raíces, and it is an extremely important organization that works with immigrants and gives them legal advice and all of the counseling that they could need to help with all of the struggles that come along with the immigration process in this country specifically. You can find out more about Raíces at raicestexas.org. And there's also a link in more information on why it is so important and why Diana has chosen it on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, but also our Eventbrite is a good home for all of the information surrounding this production of Ghosts of Bogota. We hope that you'll reach out to us if you have any inquiries with future productions or if you'd like to work with us at fourwallstheater@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you'll come and watch Ghosts of Bogota this Saturday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 5 p.m. Pacific. Bye. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.